If you can't handle these 10 aspects of Raleigh, you probably shouldn't move here. I'm Allison Warnarowski with the W Real Estate Group, and we will cover 10 things about Raleigh that you need to be aware of before you move here. We will start with several aspects related to the weather. If you have really bad allergies and can't handle pollen, you may want to rethink moving to Raleigh. For about 3 weeks in the springtime, the whole area is covered in yellow dust, and it mostly comes from all of the pine trees around. Yes, we're called the City of Oaks, but we have just as many pine trees. Depending on what you're allergic to, it may not be the yellow pollen that gets to you, as various grasses, plants, and trees produce different allergens throughout the year. My allergies are pretty bad, so I load up on medicine in the springtime, which works well for me. Pro tip, make sure you take all of your patio and screen and porch cushions in before the pollen hits to avoid a messy cleanup. On the topic of trees, don't move to Raleigh if you can't handle the mess that comes along with having so many trees. Trees are beautiful and provide so much shade and privacy, but the downside is they can create quite a mess during certain times of the year. Be prepared to rake or have someone clean up your yard in the fall. And if you park outside around a lot of trees, you'll find your car gets messy year-round. And careful about those maple and pine trees that love to drop sap. Next up, don't move to Raleigh if you can't handle the high humidity. Now, Raleigh doesn't quite compare to some of the more southern states like Florida, but for a couple months in the summertime, Raleigh is hot. The temperatures average in the 80s to 90s, but the humidity is what really drives up the heat. During some days, just walking outside will make you begin to sweat. And ladies, keeping your hair looking good can be a problem. So make sure you have plenty of water on hand and plan to hang out by the pool as much as you can. Moving into more entertainment topics, don't move to Raleigh if you have to watch professional sports live. Raleigh loves the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes that play in the heart of the city. But beyond the Canes, Raleigh doesn't have any of the major professional leagues in the area. We do have the AAA Durham Bulls, but the Washington Nationals are the closest Major League Baseball team, and Charlotte is about a 3-hour drive to see the NFL's Carolina Panthers and the NBA's Charlotte Hornets. We do have the NCFC and Carolina Courage professional soccer teams in Cary. All right, the next aspect is mostly for the younger crowd. Don't move to Raleigh if you need a wild nightlife scene. Raleigh's nightlife has been rapidly growing for years, and its expansion of downtown developments to include high-rise condos and apartments has really helped the nightlife scene grow. But if you're looking for scenes similar to what you would see in some of the major cities around the country, you won't find that in Raleigh. There are great areas and streets that do allow you to go bar and club hopping, but there aren't endless streets of entertainment here. This next topic is one that will hopefully change in the future, but if you're looking for authentic food from other cultures, you won't find much of it in Raleigh. Not to say some of these restaurants don't exist around Raleigh, because they do, especially in downtown Raleigh. And Raleigh does really have a great food scene overall, as it's been an under-the-radar foodie destination for years now. But if you really need a diverse offering of authentic style foods from various cultures, Durham and Chapel Hill have some of the best offerings around. All right, the next aspect is one that most from major cities will take some time to adjust to. Don't move to Raleigh if you're used to everything being walkable or at least in close proximity. Raleigh is pretty spread out overall. Despite a few select areas in downtown Raleigh, North Hills, and some master plan communities outside of Raleigh, you'll definitely need a car, and in some cases, the store may not be 2 minutes away. Now, Raleigh has tons of shopping centers around, but don't expect block after block of packed-in development, as Raleigh is designed to feel less compacted in general. Raleigh does have an extensive greenway system, so even though it's not walkable, you can get quite a few places on your bike. Moving on to aspects related to housing, don't move to Raleigh if you want to be in a large new construction community. Raleigh has run out of space, which is why its suburbs have seen so much growth in the past 10 to 15 years. There are still pockets of new construction neighborhoods here and there, but most of them are at the edge of North Raleigh and are luxury style homes. What you will find mostly in Raleigh are older neighborhoods, some built 40 years ago, and some built within the last 20 years. But overall, they are very established neighborhoods that generally have some good spacing between homes. But you will very likely have to update the homes, and you'll find quite a few builders now knocking down old houses in neighborhoods like North Hills and building luxury homes in their places. So if you want a large new construction community, you'll want to look in one of Raleigh's many suburbs, as they are popping up left and right and are still in great locations. I touched on this in our Raleigh Miss video, but don't move to Raleigh if you need a lot of land. Raleigh did do a great job of building neighborhoods with closer to half-acre properties in many cases, as opposed to many new construction communities today that have closer to 1/4 of an acre, but you won't find an abundance of 1 to 2 acre or more properties. There just isn't the land available. If you want more land, there are quite a few neighborhoods in suburbs like Wake Forest and Clayton that have properties with an acre or more. This is partly due to generally having more space available, but also the fact that many of these neighborhoods rely on septic systems, which require larger plots of lands to accommodate the drain fields. The last aspect we are highlighting involves housing prices. Don't move to Raleigh if you're looking to get the most bang for your buck. Home prices within Raleigh itself have risen dramatically over the past few years. While it used to be one of the most affordable housing markets for a city of its size in the country, it's now above average. While the average price of around $425,000 and $220 per square foot may not seem too bad, those numbers are a little bit deceiving since Raleigh has many older homes. You'll find many of the homes in the more desirable locations, especially if updated, going for much higher prices per square foot. And most new construction homes in Raleigh are at least $1 million, and many are $2 million plus. The good news is Raleigh still has some great suburbs that are much more affordable than Raleigh, and in pretty convenient locations overall, and they provide great amenities. Check out our Living In series on the various suburbs of Raleigh, as well as our videos summarizing each of Raleigh's suburbs. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or if you need help finding your next home. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to see more content. I'm Allison Warnerowski, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in our next video.